Okay, go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome here to the coast of Vancouver Island. Oh man, Josie's being annoying. So I decided to take her out here this morning. We're only 5 minutes from our house. Anyways, guys, in today's video, I thought it'd be kind of fun to go through what it's like to live and daily drive a lifted Mitsubishi Delica. In case you've been wondering, or you have one, or you're thinking about getting one, or whatever, maybe you can relate, or maybe you just want to know. So I thought we'd go through loading your kids, loading your dogs, driving in the city, driving in the country, just sort of everything that goes with owning and driving one of these lifted vans. The pros and the cons, whatever. Now I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a little bit biased. I love the vans, so there's probably not going to be a ton of negatives, but either way, I'll show you what it's like and some of the challenges that comes with driving one of these vans, because there definitely is some. Now guys, this is not my only vehicle. I have a little Honda Civic that I could drive. However, I find myself always hopping into the van just because I love it that much. So we'll just go through everything, like loading your kids, loading your dog, groceries, driving in the city, parking, visibility, anything I can think of to share with you guys that I find interesting about the lifted van. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you enjoy the coast here for a couple minutes with me. We'll head back to the van and we'll start this video. Right on, guys, thanks for coming along. And hey, to all my new subscribers, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy these videos. And if you do, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because there's plenty more to come in the future. Right on, guys. We'll see you back at the van. Cheers. You're crazy. You're crazy. What's that? Okay. Should we get walking? Should we get walking? Oh, butt scratch. Butt scratch. Butt scratch. Oh. Okay. I'm gonna drink my coffee and we'll get going, okay? Does that sound good? You cool with that? Yeah, you're gonna have to be. So back in the van here now, and as you could see, Josie, I mean, she probably could have jumped in, but she was hesitant because her legs are sore. She's been ripping up and down rocks and stuff for the last hour, so she's done. She's tired. So if you weren't strong enough to pick a dog up and you had dogs, it's something to think about. Like an elderly dog or a small dog or whatever, you're gonna have to get a ramp or you're gonna have to pick them up to get them in the van. So one of those things to think about. So the road that we're about to take home here is probably one of like the windiest paved roads you'd find here on Vancouver Island and maybe even in BC. So we're gonna, I'll give you guys a little perspective from inside the van of what it's like to drive on those roads. And I know they're doing construction down here, so I'm sure we'll probably get a little bit close to some dump trucks and things like that. So this is what it's like to drive on a country road. Thank you. Alright guys, so you can see from that road there, I mean, the van isn't really that much wider than it normally is, like maybe a couple inches. It just feels like it's a lot bigger than it is, so that's what she said. Yeah. So that's what it's like to drive on the country road. Anyways, we're back home now, and I thought I'd show you guys how to get a car seat in the Delica. Now this would apply for any Delica. This one happens to be lifted and it can be pretty tricky. Obviously, I mean, you can think about where the seat sits. This is my emergency tote that I keep on this side of the car when I'm driving by myself, obviously for weight distribution. This thing probably weighs about 80 pounds. My daughter usually sits in this captain's chair here, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the thing shifted around. We'll get the car seat in here. This is how you get a 3-year-old in a lifted Delica. So for starters, let's move this back a bit. There's actually 2 seat belts. So there's the main one here for like a passenger, and then there's a lap belt here, and this is gonna be for your car seat. This is the ratcheting one, so you pull it all the way out, let it click back in, and as it goes down, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. So that's That's pretty basic for any car before they had the anchors in the seats. My daughter is still rear facing, so I can put her in using this system still. But in the future, we're going to have to turn it around and use the anchors and whatnot. But for now, this is how you just put regular seat in. You pull this out and put it through. So we'll grab the car seat and we'll get it in here and we'll go ahead and get that secured. How I like to do this is I like to have her headrest resting on this seat here with a little bit of pressure on it. Again, this is what I'm talking about. The seat belt would come through this lap part here, go into this belt, and then you got to push down and sort of tighten the seat belt as you go in the ratcheting system. So it can be a bit of a pain, especially being so high, but hey man, it's what we got to do. So let's get this thing secured down here. There, push this back. Okay, and then I bring the backrest up, put a little bit of pressure on the seat, and she's in there pretty good. I'll move it up now. And there we go, man. So let's get the kid all packed up in here, and I'll show you what it's like to lift a 3-year-old up into this thing. Okay, ready? Up we go. Good job. Where are you going to? Okay guys, so you could see how this would be a situation that might get out of hand if you had a newborn or if you were short. So you just have to find out your own way of doing it. For me, it's easy. I can do it from the ground here. We're gonna get her all strapped in here, get her stuff, and we're gonna hit the road. Can you give me a hang with this? Thumbs up, pinkies out. Wow. Bye. So we're gonna hit the open road. We're gonna head into the closest big town to us and do some city driving in the big van and see what that's all about. We gotta go to the grocery store. Dad of all trades over here. So let's get going. So I thought we could just talk about a couple things in the van here that I've come to notice that I like and that I don't like. Now I'm a big dude, right? I'm 6'4", and you can see I have a good amount of room above my head here. And as far as the pedals and stuff goes, I have a pretty comfortable driving position. I'm not worried about it. I wish the headrest was a bit taller, but hey man, I'm 6'4". What are you gonna do? The visibility is not bad. Now there's these huge rain guards you can see right here where my hand is. Well, that carries all the way across. So because I'm so tall, when I look out, that's right in the top of my vision. So that can be kind of hard. Sometimes I have to duck down a little bit to see if I have to look far. I had no issue getting used to driving this. What I did have issue getting used to though is if I hop back in like my Civic or other van, I was really hugging the right hand side of the road. I guess just because that's what I'm so used to doing in this. Now having the two little mirrors on the actual side mirrors themselves, I can quickly glance either way and I can see the line of the road. Also, if you notice that the back of the van has a mirror hanging off the back window, well, I can see the back bumper with that mirror. When I look in this mirror, it sees that mirror and then it looks down at the bumper. So when I'm backing up, I have 3 mirrors. Now, it's not very reliable, and I have a little backup camera. We're going to do a little install on that in a future video. But yeah, a couple notes I wanted to make before we got going here is about the visibility in the van. Yes, sweetheart? I can drive you. Okay, she wants to get going. So let's set up a time lapse so you guys can see the road we're taking. And it's a bit busier there. It actually has street lights and things like that. So it's more of a city. They call it the city of Langford. Of course, you're going to come in there with me. So guys, here's our trip in the Delica to Langford. Okay guys, back now. So I hope that kind of gave you a perspective of sort of where we live out in the country and how long it takes. So it was about 25 minutes to get there, and that's the case if we need anything. However, I would not trade that for the world. I love living out here. I do not like the city. Anyway, sometimes we gotta go though. And that's not really a city. Langford really isn't a city like most of you are used to. It's just a small city. There's no skyscrapers or anything like that. Anyways, as you can see, I'm just measuring here. And and we are about 52 inches to the bottom of the seat right here. So that's pretty far off the ground if you think about how it is to get up into the van. If you were smaller or you had a bum leg or something like that, it would be difficult for you to get into this thing. My wife, you know, she finds it hard, but you know, not a big deal. She gets it, no issues. The guy that I bought this off of, actually, his wife just couldn't do it. She hated getting out of it. His kids, same thing. They didn't like getting out of it. So what are you gonna do, right? Happy family is the way to go. So he got rid of it. Anyways, it's ours now. So I thought that was kind of interesting to point out to you guys that, yeah, it is a big leap to get up in here, and I kind of am missing that running board. It's nice to have a smaller step to get into it, but hey man, no big deal. I'll live with it till we fix it. Anyways, moving right along here, let's hop in, and I want to talk about that side door in the back here. Okay guys, I'm going to kind of sneak in here. So if you can see this bar here, this had to get added so the door would come out further in order to fit around the fender flares and to fit the tires. So this is a real weak point of the door, and if you watch, if I pull from here, it kind of gets jammed up, but if you push from here, it just glides. So it's one of the quirks about having one of these things that are lifted is they all have some sort of a step out for this back door. So, but for like my wife and for my daughter and stuff, it's kind of a pain in the butt. So that's one thing to keep in mind. This is greased and everything. It's just because there's so much play here. When you pull from the front, you actually pull from here first, and it bends it. So if you push from back here, you get a smooth slide all the way shut. So, and then one of the quirks of the LIfted Delica here. Alrighty guys, I figured we just hop in the van here for a couple of minutes, and I just want to chat with you about a couple of things that I like and don't like about the Delica. So one of my favorite things about this van is the interior. I love that you can rotate the seats around. I love that you can fold them out of the way without having to take them out and lay them down into a bed. My daughter and I, we go to the beach all the time and we eat our lunch in this van, and you know, she calls it like the van picnic or whatever, and she just loves it. So I rotate this chair around, she sits in this one, we face each other, and we just, you know, laugh and eat our lunch, and it's fantastic, man. And with the back open, so you know, you can pull up somewhere and get a really nice view and just sit in here and relax. It's a really cool feature of this van, and hats off to the engineers that did that. Love it, man. Let's talk about a couple things that I don't necessarily like, or it's not that I don't like them, but it's something to keep in mind when you lift one of these vans. So the fuel. You're going to burn more fuel, there's no question about it. You're not going to get the same fuel economy that you would in a regular diesel that's not lifted. There's just no way. You do a lot of highway driving and you're keeping it like, you know, relatively on, you know, a good speed, you probably do okay, but if you're city driving, you're going to eat fuel like crazy. So keep that in mind. The next thing I want to talk about is the brakes and suspension components. So my brakes and ball joints and everything are new on this van as of about 8,000 kilometers ago. I am expecting to have to do the brakes on this van every 20 to 25,000 K. There is no company that makes an aftermarket rotor that I have found or that I've been able to research and get like a big beefy aftermarket rotor for this hub. I just can't find one. My mechanic orders his rotors in like I think by the 1,000, and he orders it from the manufacturer. So, but they're just regular rotors, and because the van's so big, those tires are so much bigger than factory. It's hard on these brakes, and where I live and that road I have to take every single day, it takes its toll, and they're already starting to blue. I think they're bluing because I was definitely way too hard on the brakes when I first got the van, like in the first couple of weeks, and that's my fault, is learning it and, you know, not being super used to it. Now I'm not as hard, and there's no pulsing in the brakes yet, but I know it's gonna come, and I know I'm gonna have to do them. You know, definitely at least twice as much as you would in a regular van. Now, ball joints and tie rod ends and all those little kind of suspension components, they're all going to wear out way faster too. So, you know, you got to kind of do your research and know that that's going to happen. I didn't go into this thinking that this is going to be all rainbows and sunshine. Like, I knew that we were going to have issues that were going to come up. I knew components were going to wear out, but I didn't care. Like, I wanted the van and I love this thing to death, and it doesn't matter to me. Like, I'll fix it. If it has to stay down for a bit, like, it has to stay down, but it doesn't matter. Like, I love this thing, and whatever happens, happens, and we'll fix it. I'm actually really trying to get my hands on another one of these vans, guys. So stay tuned for that. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but anyways, we'll talk about that in a later video. A couple of things I wanted to just mention about the van that I noticed so far. I do drive this thing mostly every single day. Drive-throughs, no go. There's no way. A, I'm on the wrong side, and B, I'm way too tall. Even when I have my wife in the car, we tend to not. I mean, I think we've only been to the drive-through twice. You have to reach way down to get to it, so it's just a pain in the butt no matter what. I'm pretty sure that back in the day, my buddies and I, when we had our other right-hand drive cars, we thought we were Mr. Cools and we'd go through the drive-thrus backwards and stuff, but you know, I'm not going to do that. There's no way. So I just tend to not go through drive-thrus anymore, which isn't a big deal because I don't eat fast food much anymore. So not really worried about it. What else? Because we're so high in this van, when I come up to an intersection, if there's cars on either side of me, I see right over top of them. So it's actually really nice. Like the one intersection we have at our house is known to be really dangerous. And I think they're going to fix it in the next couple of years, but it's a sketchy corner onto the highway. And when I get up there, sometimes you have to kind of nose out, but in this thing I can just kind of stop back and I can just look and see over everybody, so it's pretty awesome. So I'm trying to think of other things. The music was a huge one, but we obviously addressed that last week. A couple things to know about that. I did order like a steering wheel controller that's wireless, as well as the backup camera for the back, that's made by the same brand, so it's all proprietary to their equipment, so super cheap. We'll put that in a future video. That's gonna be pretty cool. But yeah, having the music is a blessing. The speakers suck so bad, like so bad, so I see a speaker replacement in the future as well. I think it gets mixed of feelings and mixed emotions, right? Some people are like, what the hell is that? Some people think it's really cool. Some people probably think it's the stupidest thing they've ever seen. But either way, it draws a ton of attention. One thing I did that I found interesting is I always wave to other Delicas, no matter what. In fact, I give one of these if I can, just because I feel like it's such a kind of a cool community. Now, I will say that it's about a 60-40 with wave back. So I typically will see one or two on a trip out there. Like there's a ton of them on the island, guys. Like there's a lot of Delicas here. When I say my mechanic orders in his brake pads or his rotors like that, it's because there's that many of them here. However, this one stands out, I think, amongst most of them. There's maybe a couple that are this big. I have yet to see one this big on the road. So that's pretty much it that I can think of for right now. You know, we talked about fuel, suspension, you know, maintenance. So far, not bad. Oil changes are one thing I'll talk about. So I went out and I bought myself some bulk Rotella diesel engine oil, and I'm gonna stop by my mechanics actually this weekend, actually tomorrow. And I'm going to pick up a couple oil filters so that I can take care of the oil changes for the next, 10,000 kilometers or so. I can do it myself. It's just way easier to do, and it just cuts down the cost dramatically. All right, so that's going to do it for now, guys. We talked a little bit about some things that I like and don't like about the van. I'm going to catch up with you guys in the morning bright and early. I think we're going to hit the road about 6 o'clock, and we're going to make our way. It's about a 2.5 hour drive up to my mom's place to pick up my equipment, and it'll be a good chance for us to see what this thing's all about on the highway. Also got to make a stop into Nanaimo, which is kind of a bigger city than we were in today, and we'll see how this thing does in a busy parking lot and that kind of stuff. So we'll catch up with you guys in the morning. Alrighty guys, so pulled over here to finish my coffee at the Malahat Summit. Now the Malahat is a mountainous pass here that we have on Vancouver Island. It's on the south side. We have one to the north called the Hump on your way into Port Alberni. It's not quite as tall. We're at 1,155 feet, and I thought this was a good time to talk about how the van does climbing up hills. As for the turbo diesel Delicas, the name of the game is climbing hills. These things have no issue chugging along. As you can see, we were flying past tractor trailers like they were standing still. They kind of were standing still though. And we were doing about 80 kilometers an hour, 2200 RPM, and no issues on the van, no strain at all. So these vans do phenomenal at climbing hills. However, speed is not the name of its game. As you can see, we were getting past like crazy. I like to tuck in behind somebody. We were following that roofing truck. It's a perfect size truck doing the perfect speed for me to kind of tuck in behind and get some space and just cruise along till I get to my destination. Slow and steady wins the race in this van. All right, guys, we're gonna sit here for a bit longer. We'll hit the road. We'll find someone else to cruise behind, and we'll get ourselves up to Canadian Tire in Nanaimo there. So we'll catch back in Nanaimo. Okay, guys, all done here at Canadian Tire. So yeah, my mom desperately needs a little compressor at her house because you just need a little compressor for tires, for everything. So I just got her a little compressor here. Canadian Tire's on sale, like 55% off. Gotta love the can tuner. Parking. I always park far away from everybody in any store that I go to. If I can, like a big lot like this, I'll just park in the middle of nowhere. It just saves having to hit people and hit things and open your car doors and whatever else. Like it can be a nightmare to park this thing, and I have parked it many times in small spaces and it will work fine, but I always park far away from everybody, man. So blah 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 blah. Got about 45 minutes to go until we get to our destination. The sun's out now. Should be a nice drive the rest of the way. You're too cool for school, bud. And yeah, so we'll catch up when you get up to Qualicum Beach, guys, my hometown. Alrighty, guys, we made it here to our destination and I got the equipment loaded up. Had a nice afternoon with my mom and grandma just hanging out, doing the whole social distancing thing. From here, we're heading back to Victoria to put this equipment to use on our property. It definitely needs it. So I hope you enjoyed the video of a day in the life of a LIfted Delica, sort of just what it's like living with one and driving in one. We'll be doing a ton more with the Delica in the future, guys, and I'll be excited to bring that to you. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and as always, until the next time, take it easy. Cheers.